Now, how to test the assumptions of the simple linear regression. There were basically four different assumptions: linearity, normality of errors, homoscedasticity, and independence of observations. Linearity and independence of observations are simply assumed for the purpose of this class. I'm not gonna go in depth about these two assumptions about linearity and independence of observations, because handling non-linear nonlinear relationship between independent and dependent variable is way beyond an introductory level of statistics class, and there's nothing we can do about independence of observations at this point of data analysis. I mean, this independence of observations is basically about random sampling, and random sampling should be considered at the point of data collection, because we are going to use already collected data, given data. So there is nothing we can do about this assumption of independence of observations at this point of data analysis. That's what I'm talking about. So let's just focus on this normality of errors and homoscedasticity. I will show you how to handle the assumption of this normality of errors and homoscedasticity. As we all already know, these assumptions should be taken care of to make sure we are making an accurate estimation. What I'm gonna do is to give you guys a kind of intuitive descriptions and SPSS instructions on how to handle these assumptions of normality of errors and homoscedasticity when we conduct a simple regression analysis using SPSS. Okay? Because we already know how important the normal distribution of data is in our inferential statistics. It's pretty straightforward to talk about the normality of errors. I mean, the assumption of normality of errors is basically about the normal distribution of data. We are gonna conduct a test of normality of errors called Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and Shapiro-Wilk test. I'm gonna just call it, KS test and SW test. Okay? The interpretation of a test result is basically the same as we did in the Levin test about equality of variances before. This time, we are just switching the assumption of equality of variances into the assumption of normality of errors. Okay? Please recall your memory about the Levin test. A p-value greater than 0.05 alpha level indicates the assumption of equality of variances has been satisfied, right? Likewise, a p-value greater than 0.05 alpha level from this KS and SW test means the assumption of normality of errors has been satisfied. Okay? It's quite straightforward. Let me read what I put in this slide here. If p-value for KS and SW statistics is greater than 0.0 alpha or 5 alpha level, the distribution of residuals or estimation errors is equal to normal distribution. In this case, we can conclude that the assumption of normality of residuals or assumption of normality of estimation errors has been satisfied. If the p-value is less than, p-value from this KS and SW test is less than 0.05 alpha level, the distribution of residuals, the distribution of estimation errors or prediction errors is significantly different from the normal distribution. If this is the case, in this case, we cannot rely on the main result of regression analysis. You know, the regression equation. The regression coefficient is not reliable in this case. If the p-value from KS and SW test is less than 0.05 alpha level, then we need to try to locate some outliers on the raw data and remove them from the analysis, and then conduct another regression again from the beginning. For a regression analysis, we'd better secure more than 30 samples. I mean, you know, the sample size needs to be greater than 30 in order to satisfy this assumption of normality of estimation errors. Okay. Next, the assumption of homoscedasticity. This is basically about the equality of variances among residuals or estimation errors. Please recall your memory about this assumption of equality of variances between different groups for t-test or f-test. Conceptually, we are doing the same thing. let's take a look at the figures in this slide here. We have 4 different figures, scatter plots about estimation errors. If you see a significant pattern about estimation errors, then you have to suspect the violation of this assumption of homoscedasticity. Okay. Variance. Homoscedasticity is basically about the variance. The variance is basically about how spread the values are on this data distribution. The shape looks like this, right? Looks like this. We see a significant patterns here. A significant pattern is growing estimation error here. Here, from the center to each end of the distribution, the shape looks like this, right? Take a close look at this. So we see a different but a significant pattern again here. How about this? From the center, the variance getting smaller to the end of distribution like this, right? Okay, so when we see this kind of patterns, significant patterns, among estimation errors or residuals, then we have to suspect the violation of this homoscedasticity assumption. Okay, all these three patterns here indicate the data set, a set of data we are using for regression analysis is not adequate to be used for a regression analysis due to a possibility of overestimating the statistical significance of the regression model. So we have to make sure there is no significant pattern among estimation errors. Only this first graph here, first scatter plot here, does not show any significant pattern among estimation error. A significant pattern among its estimation error indicates there are sort of significant correlation between estimation error and independent variable or predicted dependent variable. So to make sure, to test the assumption of Chomsky does TST. We conduct an analysis of correlation between independent variable and squared residuals. Squared estimation errors. Residuals are estimation errors, right? If the correlation coefficient between independent variable and squared residuals is not significant, I mean p-value is greater than 0.05 alpha level, then we can say that there's no significant pattern among estimation errors or residuals, concluding the assumption of Chomsky does TST, the assumption of Chomsky does TST has been satisfied. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to handle this in SPSS. Let's go to SPSS. The data set, this data set is about this educational level and income level. Let's do it. The data set here. Let me start from the step 10. Step 10 on the SPSS instructions. I'm going to start with regression analysis. For a regression analysis, simple linear regression, any linear regression, click Analyze here, and regression, click this regression option here, and under this regression menu, click this linear option. We are conducting simple linear regression. Okay, click linear option. In this linear regression pop-up window, I mean here, please make sure to move the variables here into dependent or independent boxes correctly. Okay, dependent variable to dependent variable box, independent variable to independent variable box. A couple of you guys got confused about this. Please make sure you understand which variable is dependent variable and which variable is independent variable. In this case, we are interested in knowing if education level influences income level. Education level influences income level. Income level is influenced by educational level. Which one is independent variable here? Yes, educational level is independent variable. Definitely goes into this independent variable box. Income variable is dependent variable for this analysis, so should move this income variable into this dependent variable box. Click Save button here. to save a variable. I mean to generate a residual information, estimation error variable to use for testing the assumption of normality of errors and homoscedasticity. We are generating this variable for those tests of assumptions. Okay, so click these residuals. I mean, mark this unstandardized here in this residual or estimation error box. You're going to use this information for assumption testing. Okay, click continue button here. And click OK button again. Right? This is the result of the regression analysis. Let's go to the original data input file here. Data input window. We can see another variable generated here, res_1. This is the estimation error, the difference between actual y variable and predicted y variable. Okay, we are going to use this estimation error variable to test two assumptions of normality of errors and homoscedasticity. Okay, that's why we generated this residual information from this initial analysis. Okay. On the SPSS output window here, we see model summary here and coefficient table here. We just interpreted these tables without testing the assumption of normality of errors and homoscedasticity, just to focus on how to interpret these tables, what statistics to use, or what for what interpretations or what conclusions. In fact, that's very dangerous. The thing is that we are supposed to test the assumption of normality of errors and homoscedasticity before interpreting this output table here. Okay, that's why see here why I put the assumption boxes here before this regression equation and interpretation. This test of assumption should go first, and then when we see the assumption satisfied, only then we can use this regression equation safely, and we can safely make interpretation and conclusions based on the significance of the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, Let's do the assumption testing using this third variable we've just generated. Okay. Test of normality of errors. SPSS on the SPSS instructions is from step 14. Step 14. Where is it? Here. Test of assumption of normality of residuals or normality of estimation errors. Okay. From step 14 to step 17. Okay, we have 4 different steps for this test. Okay, please refer to these SPSS instructions as necessary while I'm going through these steps. Okay, here step 14. Click analyze. Go to descriptive statistics. In this menu, click this explore option. Analyze, descriptive statistics, and explore. Click. Okay. Sorry. Initially, you see these 3 variables, all these variables: estimate, education, income, and residual variables. This unstandardized, get this, unstandardized residual RES1 is the third variable here. Move this residual, estimation error variable into this dependent list. Just move it and click this plot button here. Okay. Please make sure you mark this normality plus with test. This is test of normality. Okay. Initially, it may look like this. You should unmark or mark everything here. Unmark and click this none box plus none and mark this normality plus. Mark this normality plus with test. We need some statistics from this normality plot with test and click continue button and click OK button again. Okay. The result of exploratory analysis about testing normality of errors shows up like this. Okay, we did explore. Scrolling down, scroll down a little bit, and you see this test of normality table here. Do you see KS test and SW test here? Yes. This table of tests of normality. You're going to use the p-value for KS, Kolmogorov and Smirnov KS test, and this p-value for Shapiro-Wilk test, SW test. Okay. All p-values here to 0.2 and 0.123, all p-values here in this table for KS test and SW test respectively greater than, all these p-values are greater than 0.05 alpha level. What is the interpretation of this p-value in this test of normality table? Let's go back to PowerPoint slide about the interpretation. P-value is greater than 0.05 alpha level, greater than 0.05 alpha level here. Okay, if p-value for KS and SW statistic, two tests, is greater than 0.05 alpha level, like this, no, p-value for KS test from KS is 2.200, which is greater than 0.05 alpha level, and p-value for Shapiro-Wilk is also greater than 0.05 alpha level. Then the distribution of residuals or distribution of errors is equal to the normal distribution. In this case, we can conclude that the assumption of normality of residuals, or the assumptions of normality of estimation errors, has been satisfied. Okay, so we have just checked the assumption of normality of errors. Okay, please make sure to read the step 17 about interpretation. Okay, and make sure you have a clear idea about this slide about interpretation. Okay, that's basically about test of normality of estimation errors. That's basically what we are supposed to do. Okay, now test of homoscedasticity using SPSS. Let's go to the data input file here again. The steps for homoscedasticity assumption testing from step 18 to step 22. Okay. We are gonna work on the step 18, test of the assumption of homoscedasticity. Okay. We have to generate a squared residual variable, squared residual. Why? Because homoscedasticity is basically about equality of variances, and variances is sort of squared values, squared standard deviation. Am I right? So we have to square estimation error to get this variable for testing the assumption of homoscedasticity. So first step, generate squared residual variable. We already have a residual variable in this data set here, right? We are going to make another variable here by squaring this value, corresponding value. Let me show you how to do it. It's step 18 on your SPSS instructions. Okay. Select transform here. Transform. Okay. Transform and compute variable. We are going to generate new variable by doing some computations. Okay, we are going to calculate. Generate a variable here by squaring this number, this value, right? So compute variable. Move this variable. We need to generate squared residual, right? This is residual variable. So we are gonna use this variable to generate a new variable of squared residual. Name it. Name the variable. I'm gonna just put it like this: squared residual. You can put it differently. Anyway, the computation should the same as I do. Click this variable and move that variable into this box. Okay, we are trying to get squared residual. So I'm gonna put times here to multiply one more this variable again. Residual times residual is squared residual, right? One more time. Move this variable into this numeric expression to do calculation. Okay, and times this variable again. Residual times residual is squared residual. Okay, and click OK button. Okay, in this data view window, now you see another variable generated, squared residual. All these values are squared residual. Now we are gonna conduct a correlation analysis between this variable, newly generated squared residual variable, and this education level variable, which is independent variable. We are working on the step 20 on your SPSS instructions. There's sorry about this wrong information here. This should be select, analyze, then correlate. We are doing correlation analysis, and then bivariate. Okay, so analyze, correlate, and bivariate, not regression and linear. Okay, please don't be confused by this. So in this SPSS data view window, analyze, correlate. This is step 20 on your SPSS instructions, and bivariate. We are doing another correlation analysis to see if there is any relationship between independent variable and squared residuals. Okay, click bivariate. You already know how to do that, right? Independent variable, between independent variable and squared residual, right? We are conducting correlation analysis between these two variables. Click OK. Okay. The result of correlation analysis shows up in this SPSS output window. Simply correlation tables, no confusion, right? The p-value, we just look at this p-value here. P-value here. P-value is 0.549, which is way greater. Oops. 0.05 alpha level, which means the relationship between education and squared residual is not statistically significant. Am I right? There is no correlation. I mean, no statistically significant correlation between this independent variable, which is education level here, and squared residual variable. No correlation. Let's get back to this PowerPoint slide about interpretation. Okay, if the correlation, this is test of homoscedasticity, if the correlation is not significant, if the p-value is greater than 0.05 alpha level, then we can say that there is no significant pattern among residuals. No significant patterns among residuals, concluding that the assumption of homoscedasticity has been satisfied. Okay. Putting the test result of assumption of normality of errors and homoscedasticity. This is to test the assumption of normality of errors. We're going to use this table and this table. Correlation between independent variable and squared residual variable. I'm gonna get this p-value information here and p-value information for this KS and SW test into this Excel spreadsheet. Okay, assumptions. The first KS and SW test about normality of estimation errors. I'm going to put like this. Copy this. Okay. And cite this p-value and this p-value here. Research data, our research data, I mean this sample data has satisfied the assumption of normality of estimation errors, just simply errors, because p-value of KS test, KS statistic greater than 0.05. Okay, just cite one of them. This is the test of normality of errors. Second, test of homoscedasticity. The result from our SPSS analysis tells us that research data has satisfied the assumption of homoscedasticity TST, right? Because there is no significant correlation between independent variable and squared residual variables, right? P-value was greater than p-value, which is 0.5, what was it, 549? Yeah, 549 greater than, was greater than, is greater than 0.05 alpha level, right? These two assumptions should go first should go before getting this regression equation and interpreting that regression equation. This should be addressed first. Okay, so let me highlight this. Okay, now this is a sort of complete set of regression analysis. Okay, first you're gonna set up alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is always no difference, no relationship, something like that. You just put alternative hypothesis here. Alternative hypothesis is differently called research hypothesis. In this question, the research hypothesis was education level would significantly influence income level. That was the research hypothesis of interest. And the first thing we need to do is to make sure the assumptions has been satisfied before we get this information of regression equation and interpret this regression equation like this. So what you are supposed to do: set up research hypothesis, conduct the test of assumptions of normality of errors, and then assumption of homoscedasticity. Then set up the regression equation from the SPSS output. Get the R-square from SPSS output. Then interpret what you've got from the SPSS output appropriately, like this. That's what you are supposed to do. This is a complete set of regression analysis.